Good morning. Good morning on this lovely rainy morning. It's great to have you all here. And for those of you who battled the crowds of Allentown Festival, welcome. Special gold stars go to you. Special gold stars go to each and every one of you who come in here and make our place, our space sacred, including all of you who are tuning in through our YouTube venue. It is great to have everyone in this sacred space that goes without walls. Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Joan Montagnes, and I have the honor and privilege of serving you, this congregation, as minister. We are blessed to be together, and we acknowledge that the land upon which we meet rests upon the traditional territory area, the land of the Haudenosaunee people who continue to struggle for self-determination and justice. Welcome. In this church, we ask everybody to wear their masks over their nose and their mouths because we care for each other and for ourselves, and also go out and get those vaccinations and those boosters and everything else you can get, because who needs this thing, right? None of us need it. The theme, we do this thing at the church, theme-based ministry, so that every month we have a theme. And although it's grammatically incorrect at the top, and I think that was my bad, we are celebrating our blessings this month. This is our theme. And this month we brought back the theme-based ministry bulletin board in the sanctuary. So if you feel like celebrating your blessings with everyone, there are little cards to write your blessings on. You can count your blessings. There are magic markers to write with, and there are thumbtacks to tack those blessings up to share with everybody. So have fun with that. Let's make a nice graffiti board about blessings so we can celebrate them together. Next Sunday is Flower Communion already. What? Flower Communion is the way we wrap up our formal church year, and we do it when everybody brings in a flower or a few flowers, and we exchange them in a loving, living, beautiful communion of hearts and lives. So bring a flower next week to church. And today is the auction. Today is the Fun and Fellowship auction with all kinds of goodies. There are services, there is art, there are baskets of treats, there's an Adirondack getaway, there are meals to share for your social calendar. And I'll tell you, every single one of those things has a dollar sign associated with it. And all the dollar signs out there, they all go to the church. It's all for a good cause. So you might be looking for a bargain. I invite you not to look for a bargain, because everything out there is a bargain, even at above the asking price. Because everything out there, given that it brings you into a community, it helps you introduce you to new friends, it helps you get to know old friends better, all that stuff is priceless. So bid high, bid often, get that service auction going and support the church and enrich your life, which is what it's really about. And now we have a special announcement from Bridget Evans, President of the Board of Trustees. Y'all come up. There she is.
Hi, guys. Speaking of counting our blessings, I wanted to say thank you to everybody for our spring rescue and our second ask. We started at $61,000 in the hole for our budget, and now we're at $16,000 remaining. Thank you so much, and I'm so grateful. And we're gonna wrap it up today, and next Sunday, we're gonna just ask for that 16,000. People keep coming, it's incredible. So I'm gonna give a little bit more today. I invite you to do it, but I really just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's been so generous and just gotten us out of this terrible dilemma. Thank you guys so much.
So that is all the announcements I see fit to speak about. There are more in your orders of service that you can take home and read wherever it is you read such things. And now let's prepare ourselves for worship.
If There Is to Be Peace in the World by Lao Tzu. If there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there is to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there is to be peace in the cities, there must be peace in the neighborhood. If there is to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there is to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. Come, let us worship. We gather in loving community. Oh, sorry. We gather in loving community, inspiring one another to transform ourselves to create a more just and compassionate world.
This is the church that we built. This is the chalice that lives in the church that we built. This is the flame that burns in the chalice that lives in the church that we built. These are the people who light the flame that burns in the chalice that lives in the church that we built. These are the flowers that honor the people that burns in the that lives in the church that we built. This is the organ with mighty horns that sings to the flowers that honor the people who light the flame that burns in the chalice that lives in the church that we built. These are the windows of high adorn that lift the organ with mighty horns that sing to the flowers that honor the people who light the flame that burns in the chalice that lives in the church that we built. This is the font over by the piano there. This is the font where babes come newborn, who gurgle at windows of high adorn that lift the organ with mighty horns, that sing to the flowers that honor the people who light the flame that burns in the chalice that lives in the church that we built. These are the rafters, brown and warm, that shelter the font where babes come newborn who gurgle at windows of that lift thee with that sing to the flowers, that honor the who that lives in the church that this is the space on Sunday morn beneath the rafters, brown and warm, that shelter the font where babes come newborn, who gurgle at windows of high adorn, that lift the organ with mighty horns, that sing to the flowers, that honor the people who light the flame that burns in the chalice, that lives in the church that
Every week, we take a good portion of our Sunday morning offering and give it away to a social justice cause outside of our church walls. This month, we are supporting the good work of Niagara Pride. Niagara Pride envisions an LGBTQ community in which individuals and families feel safe, secure, and affirmed where they live, work, worship, and play, especially in the Niagara County and surrounding areas. To support our Share the Plate ministry, you can use PayPal by going to our website, www.buffalouu.org, and clicking on the blue Donate button. Or you can send a check by mail to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo at 695 Elmwood Avenue, Buffalo, New York, 14222. You can also arrange a regular automatic deposit with your bank. If yours is a gift to our Share the Plate ministry, please write SHARE on the memo line, and it will be shared between Niagara Pride and the church operating budget. If yours is a welcome gift to our congregation, please write Pledge 2020 on the memo line. Either way, please write UUCB on the important line. Thank you for celebrating your blessings with pride and generosity.
There is wisdom in the windows that surround us, messages in masonry and stonework here, stories of the mystery and faith that found us. They can make a difference in our own work here. See the gleaming plaques with names from the past, people who had dreams and held them fast, dreams that we inherited. We have to make them last. And there are whispers in the woodwork calling to us, saying, here are treasures, good and true. Voices from the choir loft that renew us, stories in the people sitting next to you, and wisdom in the windows, colored glass, illumined by the candlesticks made of brass. They light a fiery chalice, flames to make us wise. Just open the windows and open your eyes. Just open your eyes.
The Guest House by Jalaluddin Rumi. This, being human, is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house, empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.
I'm going to take a minute here to welcome Sonara Marquis to our worship associate team. It's great to have her here with us. Sonara is no stranger to the pulpit, but it's nice to have her on a regular Sunday. You know, all that business of Lao Tzu handing down to us that reading, if there's to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there's peace in the nations, then yada, 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 there must be peace in the heart. You know, I always found that just a tad trite and formulaic until recently. Until recently, when we have been confronted with the insurrection on January 6th, which took our already tenuous grasp on democracy and shook it by the scruff of its neck. And then there's the overturning or potential overturning of Roe v. Wade, a decision which would definitely declare that women are second-class citizens. And the war crime happening in Ukraine, and the racist murders of 10 innocent people in our neighborhood on May 14th, and the slaughter of the children in Uvalde. Recently, I've been thinking a lot about the connection between peace in the world and peace in the heart. And I've been thinking even more about how we can create gracious spaces for peace to live and thrive in our lives and in the world. I've been thinking about positive community change, let alone how we could create positive world change. And if we're going to do that, if we're going to be change agents, we need to create spaces that can hold real relationships, spaces that can hold the work we need to do in real relationships. Because, my goodness, there is work to be done. A gracious space for doing the work of being in real relationship is not an empty fishbowl of nothingness. This isn't going to happen in a vacuum if we just empty a space out. A gracious space that can hold real relationships and the work we need to do in real relationship, a gracious space like that is an active spiritual space, a space where we can meet the stranger, those who are different from ourselves. A gracious space is a spiritual space where we meet the stranger for mutual understanding and learning. Now, of course, even in the most perfectly cultivated gracious space, you can expect conflict. People in real relationship, doing the work of being in real relationship, have conflict. Don't ever think that peace is conflict-free. We will always find ourselves at odds with each other. Cultural differences, assumptions, personal histories, misunderstandings, they all play into how friction might develop. But if we are committed, above all else, to meeting the stranger for mutual understanding and learning, then very quickly we can get creative about how we engage in conflict. If we are committed to meeting the stranger for mutual understanding and learning, conflict changes from a win or lose situation, changes from physical and emotional violence, changes from a contest of power if we're committed to meeting the stranger for mutual understanding and learning, then conflict becomes a creative opportunity for holy curiosity and growth, for developing deeper and more meaningful relationship, for strengthening our community as a whole. Now we have to start small with this stuff, right? And years ago I shared with you the idea of the committee meeting of the mind, the committee meeting of the mind or the soul or the heart. And I confess to you that in my personal internal kitchen table conference center, there are a whole lot of notables who sit around and chat on a regular basis, including characters like Martha Stewart, dig the poncho. And there's also this thunderous, loamy force I call the beet woman, like the vegetable. The beet woman often takes Martha on when Martha Stewart is getting just a hair too, Martha Stewarty. And the beet woman always manages to guide the kitchen table conference in my heart back down to earth. So I ask you, who lives within you? Who sits in the committee meeting of your mind, your soul, your heart? A child, a sage, a trickster, a hero, a saint? Maybe royalty, a killer, an undertaker, a warrior, a vulture, an accountant, somebody keeping score, a castaway, a lover, a dragon, a servant, an inventor, an entrepreneur. Whoever you find there in the committee meeting of your mind, your heart, your soul, welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep away the furniture. The depression, the shame, the malice. Invite them into the gracious space within. Each guest can be treated honorably because any of those voices could open you up to new insight, open you to greater inner strength. I invite you to imagine who is sitting around in the committee meeting of your mind. I invite you to be brave, be vulnerable, create a gracious space within. Welcome the stranger. Listen. Listen deeply. Be curious and strive for understanding. Open yourself to contradictions and discomfort. Seek peace in the heart. Let's join in singing hymn 1009 in your teal hymnal.
So, here's our instructions for that meditation. We will sing the melody 6 times in all, and we'll all start together. On the 3rd time, I'll start singing this drone, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, and anyone who wants to join me can do that. And on the 5th and 6th times, Taryn will add the melody, or the descant. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace, along with the rest of us singing the drone and melody, and then we'll all end with breathe in, breathe out to close it out. Clear as mud? Let's see how it goes.
Keep breathing.
When I breathe in,
Today's Circle by Sophia. Bring the church with you, because the church is you. There is no in or out of the circle. We, as we are in the moment, create church today. Inside, everyone wants to be seen for what's inside. The recent death of a loved one, a certain skill, talent, or passion, how they see themselves racially, or who they love. How are you, we ask each other. We listen, just being another human, in a well-made box, together for a few hours or a lifetime. We weave in and out of this container, but how do we know what it contains if we do not ask? If we do not sit down side by side with our neighbor and find out how different we are, how much the same, how many assumptions we made with the millions of bits of information our unconscious filed away neatly. Within the blink of an eye, sometimes we sneak in, not wanting to be exposed. Our soul's fragile, our spiritual matters too tender for public consumption, just needing a moment to contemplate the larger things, to breathe and rest and sneak back out again. All of it matters. All of it is the church in this moment. There is no in or out of the circle. We, in all of our beautiful imperfections, are the church.
Way back in February of 2020, just before we all locked down for a long pandemic, before masks, long before any vaccinations, long before any of us had Zoom accounts. Remember that? Way back in February of 2020, we held an in-person membership ministry summit, a get-together for all the people who welcome you into church every Sunday. There were greeters and ushers and access and inclusion ministry, the religious education ministry, the welcome table folks, and the worship associates. We all got together and we listened to each other's stories and we described the roles each of us play in welcoming people to our congregation. We brainstormed ways to improve our hospitality, and we shared a meal. It was a good and enjoyable and productive time. That night, after the party was over, Sophia Roberts of our Universal Access and Inclusion Ministry wrote the poem that Sonara just read for us. To me, Sophia was talking about the gracious space we had created, in which we met each other as strangers, not because we were complete strangers to one another, but because we can always get to know each other better. We met each other as strangers for mutual understanding and learning with the goal of making positive community change. On a good day, that's what small groups do. Covenant groups, memoir groups, youth group, the social justice, pastoral care, and finance teams, the board, the choir. We meet each other in circles as strangers for mutual understanding and learning with the goal of making positive community change. We gather, we listen. Just being another human in a well-made circle, together for a few hours, or maybe for a lifetime. We weave in and out of this container, but how do we know what it contains if we do not ask? If we don't sit down, side by side with our neighbor and find out how different we are, how much the same, how many false assumptions have we been making about one another. We gather in church and commit to welcoming people we don't know and people we can always know better. We gather for deeper understanding and learning in holy curiosity, to be in real relationship, to do the work of being in real relationship. Church is the place where we get to practice being human. Church is the place where we get to practice being human, practice creating gracious spaces within small circles. We practice it here so we can take it out into the world. We practice being human here, learning to listen, learning to wonder, learning to accept contradictions and discomfort, learning how to engage in conflict while keeping the peace. We practice here in our church family so we can begin the work of being in real relationship beyond the walls, beyond the safe space of this church.
Oh, hello. So this piece is a bit of a call and response thing. It's in the vein of creating a space for love. Sita and Rama are Hindu deities, and they're married, and the Sita Ram is kind of something that is like the personification of like love. So yeah, there's going to be some words for you to repeat. For the first part, there's Shri Ram, and there's Jai Ram, and then the second part is just Sita Ram. I grew up in the Catholic Church, so I'm going to do this when I want you to repeat after me. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Sita Ram, 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 Sita Ram. Didn't think this through. Sita Ram, 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 Sita Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai 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 Ram. Sita Ram, 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 Sita Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai 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 Ram. Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Sitaram, 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 Sitaram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 One last time. Sitaram, 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 Sitaram.
Let's join our hearts and minds in a quiet moment of prayer, reflection, and meditation. Let's join our let's rest on this forming moment of time. And breathe in and out. I invite you to call to mind a person whose steady love touches your heart. Allow yourself to experience their affection as if they were right near you, happy for your presence and grateful for you just as you are. Relax into that feeling of love. And put that affection and warmth into words. Silently say to yourself, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. Now bring to mind someone who means a lot to you, someone in whose presence you can relax and be fully appreciated for who you are. Feel the goodness of this connection and feel your gratitude. And silently speak into that connection of affection. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. Now open the circle to someone who you've met casually, someone you'd recognize but don't really know. Imagine that as your wishes touch them, their hearts and minds are calmed. And say to them silently, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. Now invite into this gracious space a difficult person. Maybe someone you know personally, or someone you know of who triggers your anger and fear. You may think of this person as unworthy of your care, but as you open the circle, as you Invoke them in your mind's eye. Try to let go of your hostility and fill your heart with grace. Imagine that your witches touch and welcome this difficult person into community. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. We hold the space. Breathe in and out. And now let us open our sanctuary of memory, caring, accountability, and hope to the names of all those we hold in our hearts. Each name a breath, each breath a prayer.
Kevin.
Lee.
Deborah.
Will. Abby.
The breath of nature is upon us. The spirit of life is within us. The community of love is among us. So be it. Blessed be. And let the church say, Amen. Let's join in singing. Hymn number 1031 in your teal hymnal, filled with loving kindness.
As we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may we carry its light with us into the world in the power of peace, faith, justice, and love.
If there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the heart. Remember, you are blessed. Remember, you are a blessing. And above all else, remember, you are not alone. You are never alone. So be it. Blessed be. And let the church say, Amen.
There is some kiss we want with our whole lives, the touch of spirit on the body. Sea water begs the pearl to break its shell. And the lily, how passionately it needs some wild darling. At night I open the window and ask the moon to come and press its face against mine. At night I open the window and ask the moon to come and press its face against mine. To me, breathe into me, breathe into me, breathe into me. Close the language door and open the love window. The moon won't use the door, only the window, only the window. Close the language door and open the love window. The moon won't use the door.